Good afternoon, magic players and card collectors of all kinds. Welcome back to the channel. I'm here today to do a few things. I'm going to do a very small Dollarama Draws of Destiny! And I also want to go over the backlash that's been going on from the recent Commander card bans. Having taken some time to think about it, I have some opinions that have not necessarily changed, but I have other opinions that have formed. And having listened to many different people's takes on it now, I thought I would share those opinions with you while I open a couple packs. Unfortunately, this is all I could afford this week, but I do have another opening that I will be posting in the near future. One that I actually made prior to the bans, and I just haven't had a chance to post it yet because internet connection is always kind of an iffy thing for me. But for now, I want to get this video out there because there's a few things that I really think need to be said, and a few things that I think are very interesting to think about. So, first and foremost, I know this is going to seem like I'm jumping on a bandwagon, but a lot of people have been posting videos about the negative reactions that people have had. And I want to make it clear from the get-go that I am absolutely against any death threats or any violence or even hate messaging the rules committee. I'm still of the opinion that they fucked up. I'm still of the opinion that this needs to be fixed somehow. And there's been several solutions floated for that, and I'm going to briefly touch on all those as well. But what I mainly want to get across right from the get-go is I am opposed to any sort of violence or hate speech going towards the rules committee. That is not what my original video was about, and if anybody took away from my original video that I was encouraging that kind of behavior, you really don't understand me at all. I do feel more... I still feel really terrible for the player base, but it doesn't justify that kind of behavior. So, from the get-go, I want to make that clear. The professor's done an excellent video on this subject. The Command Quarters, I believe they're called, has also done a pretty good video. With Rachel Weeks and I can't remember the other guy's name off the top of my head. I apologize. But I really enjoyed both those videos. I thought they were very thorough, and they presented a lot of interesting information. I'm going to open up one of these packs, then I'm going to go over some of that information with you guys, and then I'm going to open another pack, and I'm going to discuss some solutions that have been proposed. See if we can get some solid Destiny going today. I am looking to build a red, blue, and black deck, as well as a black, white, and green deck in the near future. And so any extra little support for those decks is always something I'm looking for, and Dollarama usually comes through for me. So let's see how it goes today. Festival Crasher. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Festival Crasher gets +2/+0 until end of turn. That's not bad. Shrine Steward. When Shrine Steward enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an aura or a shrine card. I don't really play shrines, so that's not overly helpful. Ooh, that one looks cool. I like the artwork. Equipment Insect. Whenever Chainfall, Centipede, or equipped creature attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Reconfigure 2, that's not great, but it's not terrible. We'll put it in the middle. Whenever you draw a card, Burl Fist Oak gets +2/+2 until end of turn. That's neat. Malkir, the Blood Priest, when it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures in your party. I don't play parties. +1/+1 counter on target creature or vehicle. Untap it. Return target permanent you control to its owner's hand. That feels kind of middle of the road, but we'll put it up top for now. Temple of Abandon enters the field tap. Scry 1. Ooh, I like that. First land of the day. When Kami of Industry enters the battlefield, return target artifact card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. Middle of the road. When Elite Instructor enters the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. That's not bad. Ooh, legendary! Bum bum bum! Double strike. Creatures you control with first strike have double strike. Ooh, interesting. I love the artwork on this. I recently bought the Knights Precon, as you know, and if I were willing to upgrade that, this would definitely be going in there, but I just don't think I'm going to be upgrading it. But I'm sure I'll find a home for this deck, for this card. Ooh, another legendary creature. Phyrexian Human Artificer. Sacrifice 3 other artifacts and or creatures. Look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 2 of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. That sounds terrible. But it would work well in my sacrifice deck, so I'll put it in the middle here. Feed the Infection. You draw 3 cards and you lose 3 life. Each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters loses 3 life. Solid middle. Stoke the Flames. Has Convoke. We do just get a Convoke deck. Deals 4 damage to any target. I might actually already have that one in that deck, but that is a good card. Lofty Denial. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. If you control a creature with flying, counter that spell unless its controller pays 4 instead. That is pretty cool. Funeral Rites. Draw 2 cards, lose 2 life, and put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Alright, not bad. We got some interesting cards in that pack for sure. So, back to what I was saying. One of the interesting things that was brought up it's been mentioned several times, and I'd say that this is the most important point regarding how I still feel about the bans, is that there was a lot of forethought put into the bans, and there was a lot of discussion amongst the rules committee, and clearly that discussion trickled over to Wizards of the Coast. But the fact that they ignored I think it's called the CAG, the advisory group. Yeah, the Commander Advisory Group. The fact that they were ignored, I think is really a poor sign of confidence towards the player base. I get the idea of trying to keep a lid on things, but I've heard from several sources, from another source that I watched online, that there were a lot of people who were giving rumors about these cards getting banned. So if the rumors got out, then clearly there should have been some sort of discussion with the CAG. And the fact that there wasn't, I think, is a huge mistake. I also feel that there were valid points made about the idea that the rollout of this was just wrong. To ban all 4 cards in such a dramatic fashion without any forewarning, I think really hurt player confidence. And I still am pretty shaken by it myself. I know I got a couple of packs from the Dollarama. Really, like I say, I just want to finish these last two decks of mine. I am considering getting some Duskmourn cards because I do really like the look of that set. I played against some of those last night at my LGS. Shout out to Paradox TCG, best place to play cards in Hamilton. Um, but right now, I think that um, I'm still torn about how much I'm going to invest in the future into Magic. What I'm not torn about is the fact that I'm still going to play. I'm not quitting Commander. I'm not tossing out all my cards or selling off my collection, which I've heard many people are doing, and that really breaks my heart because I can understand the sentiment, but realistically, we've had a lot of word come out that there's not going to be future bans for quite a while, that these were the cards they wanted to hit. They've hit them, so there's no potential per se that we're going to be losing valuable cards in the near future in Commander again. I don't know how much we can trust that, to be perfectly honest, but I would like to put my faith in people when I can. It's burned me in the butt many times, but that's just the way I am. Um, with that said, another point that was presented, and I think that it's something that needs to be said, is it wasn't a unanimous decision amongst the rules committee. There was clapback against the idea, and it was basically put to a vote, as far as I understand it. Um, Other solutions were proposed. I think those other solutions would have been a lot better than what they've done. And I'm just going to say flat out that, in my opinion, if they had put some thought into doing it that way instead, I feel that the player base would have been a lot less hostile. What I'm talking about is I've heard that Olivia from Commander at Home and uh, Elder Dragon Hijinks, I think that's the other channel that she plays on. I've heard that she put out the idea that they should just ban Nadu, which apparently everybody agrees with. I'm still not really on the happy side of any bans, period, but if Nadu is something that the player base generally thinks should be gone, then fine, so be it. And Dockside, which I honestly am a little more opposed to getting rid of Dockside, just because it screws over red players so bad. Red players don't have fast mana or any other way of generating fast mana really in a reliable fashion in Commander. And for those who play it at the competitive level, that really hurt them, I think. But banning just those two cards and putting the other two on kind of like an advisory notice, the way, for example, my One Ring has been put on an advisory notice for Modern, which I don't play Modern. I have a couple Modern decks that I'm actually taking apart to make my new Commander decks. Because I've just never enjoyed the 60 card format that much. I don't mind playing Draft. Draft is fun, actually, and I like pre-releases. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend the Duskmourn one, even if this hadn't happened, because I just didn't have the cash. But, yeah. I think that, that solution would have been the best solution if they really wanted to ban stuff, to just ban two cards and leave the others going. I'm going to continue with the next pack. And while I do so, I'm going to present a couple of other thoughts that have been floated. Um, I'm going to look it up online, and I'm going to probably post a link to it, maybe. There's been a couple petitions started I've read about on cared.com. One is to apparently fire the rules committee, which, as far as I understand it, it's a volunteer group, so I don't know how you're going to get them fired per se. But the other is to reverse the decision. I originally was for reversing the decision, but at this point, I think the damage has been done, and reversing the decision might actually make things worse. I've seen a lot of videos of people apparently tearing up their jeweled lotuses, burning them, etc. Um, and I just don't think that that's gonna help if we suddenly give everybody back their cards, because now they've destroyed all that value. That said, if you really want to destroy your cards, that's kind of a choice that I don't think you should make ever. I have Pokemon cards over here that, beat up as they are, I still have. I've sold a few of my Pokemon cards to make ends meet over the last month or so, but I wouldn't destroy my Pokemon cards, even though they're completely useless at this point because of their age and because of how much damage has been done to them when I played with them. This isn't a bad sorcery. Ooh, Calming Up the Restless Shadows. When it enters the battlefield, choose one. Return one target ninja or rogue creature from your graveyard to your hand. Put target creature from your graveyard on top of your library. That's not bad. It costs a bunch, but it's not bad. Ecologist Terrarium. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle, sacrifice this thing, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Nice. That's solid. Elite Instructor again! Ooh, Last Voyage of the Blank. Wonder what the frick the blank is for. When this enchantment enters the battlefield, you may put a name... Oh, it's a sticker card. That sucks. I definitely do not play stickers. That was really cool up until the point where it became a sticker card. Moonfolk Wizard flying. When it becomes tapped, scry one. That's pretty good. Legendary creature, the Fugitive Doctor. Ooh, I didn't have any doctors. I did not buy into the Doctor Who set because I'm just not a huge fan of the show. Sorry for those who love the show, I just never got into it. My thing was the Twilight Zone. And, what was the other one called? The Outer Limits. I loved both those shows, but I never got into Doctor Who. When the Fugitive Doctor enters the battlefield, investigate. Whenever the Fugitive Doctor attacks, you may sacrifice a clue. When you do, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. Neat. That actually will work really well in my artifact deck. Cool. Kitsami Ace? It's not terrible. Sentinel's Eyes. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has vigilance. Nice. That's a good one. Seven-Tail Mentor. Enters a battlefield or dies, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature or vehicle. Okay. Phyrexian Spawn. It's a Gorgon. When it escapes with... it escapes with 2 +1/+1 counters. When it enters the battlefield this way, each opponent sacrifices a non-Gorgon creature. Interesting. Growth Cycle. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. It gets an additional +2/+2 until end of turn for each card named Growth Cycle in your graveyard. Good for Modern, not good for Commander. Daybreak Chimera is not the greatest. Vault Robber. Dwarf Rogue. Exile a creature card from your graveyard. Create treasure token. Well, that's not bad at all. Sunlit Hoplite. As long as it's your turn, it has first strike and it gets +1/+0 as long as you control Elspeth Planeswalker. Interesting. Alright, well, the Packs of Destiny have been very interesting today, and I hope our discussion has been very interesting for you guys as well. What I'd like to leave you with is, like I say, don't go harassing people, don't make death threats, don't do stupid stuff, guys. Please think about your actions. Your anger is justified, but not that. That's an extreme that we don't need to go to. And I'm still for the opinion that we shouldn't have bans at all, but if we're going to have bans and it's happened, it's unfortunate, but I think the best solution is for CEDH to break off from Casual Commander. I think they should have their own ban list. I think they should have their own advisory group, their own rules committee, and they should be able to have high powered cards like those of Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt and Dockside back. For those who destroy their cards, I feel really bad about that choice that you've made, but I think that the fairest solution at this point would be to do that. To give those people who want to play with high power a place to play with high power. And to be honest, if you're going to do that, I don't think there should be a ban list for CEDH. I think that they should be able to have whatever cards they want, and they should just be able to play their decks the way they want to play them. If it becomes that there's a meta and the game is very one-sided and whatever, it's unfortunate, but that's the fault of Wizards. That's not the fault of the rules committees and the advisory groups. But I really do believe that CEDH needs its own space. As for me, as far as a casual player, I'm never going to use any of those cards, so I'm not affected by this ban list per se, as I said in my last video, but I am a Commander player, and I know people who play CDH, and I can understand the damage that this has done based on how it's done damage to me when I played Yu-Gi-Oh! And it is one of the reasons why I quit. So I believe that it is the best solution going forward to give them their space and to give them the freedom to play the cards they want to play. As far as casual tables go, the decision's been made, and overall it's probably for the best in terms of gameplay. It's just not for the best in terms of the value that those players have lost. Your anger is justified, but your actions need to be better, guys, if you are making poor decisions. And I think that goes for everyone. I think that going forward, the rules committee needs to make better decisions and put more thought into what they're doing and include the advisory group. But I also think that everybody who is doxing people and DMing people and threatening people, that stuff needs to stop. This has been a surprisingly long episode of Dollarama Draws of Destiny! I believe the Destiny has been fairly kind to us today, and I look forward to putting these cards into my decks. I wish you well, and take care. From me to you. I forget how I end these videos usually. I'm just gonna go with bye!